welcome to the Arsenal show. We are live. The dust has settled. The score has still remained the same. I thought it was a nightmare. Mm-hmm. Although one thing I do have to say, where words of wisdom generally come to you later on at night, and generally, what was that? It sounded like someone went, "Oh no!" It sounded like someone went, "Oh no!"
Oh no!
One thing we have to take from yesterday's game is Arsenal showed fight, a lot of fight to the end, a never say die attitude. But I would rather we weren't in that position. All right. No. Welcome tonight, my co-host Steve K. How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, good evening, mate. Agree with most of what you said there. It was again. No, you just want to watch Arsenal now, and you just want to turn the telly on with your cup of tea, with your bag of crisps, sit back, get a couple of early goals, and just enjoy the evening. Just give us, even with the Tottenham game, there was still that little bit of, you're making us nervous. Give us a break, Arsenal. Give us a break.
Yeah, give us a break, please, because I'd like to start doing some of these pods the following day after the games or the reviews, the player ratings, and they're a bit more jovial like the Tottenham game, where we can ask those stupid questions. Have we turned a corner, or is it a false dawn? Is this a new Arsenal? Has Mikel finally got the team to click? I'm waiting. I've got the posters ready for them. But right now, we can't do that. We have to do the same old stuff, which is what's not working? Why is it not working? What could be the key combinations? What can we do to change it? But that's what we're fans for. It's part of the journey, people. Remember that. No one wants to be at a team that just was always winning. It gets boring. I wouldn't know that, but I'm sure it does get boring. We'll ask some Man United fans from the 1990s. But yeah. All right, let's crack on with the show. So tonight we've got plenty to ask the question, plenty of questions to ask, plenty to dig into. Majority of it revolves around yesterday's game, to be honest. But first and foremost, Steve, have you looked at that incident with Little Chile, aka Bukayo Saka, and James McArthur? Have you looked at it again?
I've looked at it again, and how it wasn't a red card is
so much.
Beyond me. But you know what's good? I'm getting Tottenham supporters, Man City supporters, Liverpool supporters, Manchester United supporters, Chelsea supporters. They go, how dare they do that to him? That's a disgrace. Everyone loves Bukayo Saka. We love Bukayo Saka. It was disgusting. I mean, it went to VAR.
Yeah.
I was often there are decisions these days where it doesn't go to VAR. So I'm still trying to learn which ones they are, which ones don't, which ones do. So I'm wondering, was this an occasion where it don't?
That's because what I thought. I said it last night.
Yeah. It's gone upstairs, and then it looks at it, and
So yesterday when I first saw it, my first initial thought was, what it is the players got in front of him, and because I've seen it, we've seen it many a times, even when we've been playing on a Sunday or a Saturday, we've seen where someone's gone to kick the ball, they're following the ball, the player comes in front of it, boom, they kick the player. I thought it was that. So when people were talking about a red card yesterday, it was a bit like, okay, I feel like we're reaching for it. I saw Aubameyang say, well, how could this not be a red card, blah, blah. Then I looked at it today. And I thought, okay, I'll take another look at this. I'll give it the time of day. Saka's already in front of him. And McArthur, he's left one on him. It's clear as day. Once you look at it again, McArthur has left one on him as the whistle's gone, clatter. And when Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville are both saying, that's a red card, you're lucky to be on the pitch still. I mean, that pretty much says it all, because they have not generally got a good word to say about Arsenal, especially when they've dropped points.
No, they haven't. And yeah, it'll baffle. It's one of those that, you'll see, every week. But yeah, I mean, how it wasn't given, I don't know. Would it have made a difference with McArthur off the pitch?
Something that we up at the time.
we was 1-0 up at the time, so you know it probably would have.
Yeah.
Another thing as well, the referee. I mean, do these referees? I mean, surely they look at past incidents or the record of players.
They say they shouldn't.
And how well, even if they say you shouldn't, I mean, I find that's impossible to know. If you're a referee and you're refereeing a football game, I'm sorry, you can't. You got to referee a football game and still know about football. You can't just be a teacher from Monday to Friday and then decide to walk on a football pitch because you've read a book or you've done a course and decided to be a referee. You've got to know the game. And if you know the game, you know that MacArthur is a wrong one, and he does it regularly. Yeah. And if he does that regularly, you should be looking at that, and he should be off.
Yeah, my first thought when I first saw it was, James MacArthur, he's dirty, and then I thought, no, actually, this wasn't a red card. It was probably yellow. It was accidental. It was clumsy. And then, like I said, I looked again, and it's a red, and then adding to the fact that it's James MacArthur as well. It's 100% a red. Johnny, I see you got a new profile picture, looking smooth there, mate. Loving the glasses. You're right. Mike Dean and Andre Mariner. Now, watch Andre Mariner. I don't know if people notice Andre Mariner because everyone goes straight to Mike Dean. But Andre Mariner is a Sunday League kind of ref. And I'm not saying he's level with Sunday League. I'm saying he refs like a Sunday League ref. He likes people to get stuck in. He likes people to get kicked. And especially when it's Arsenal, he does not like to give any fouls. So watch out. It's not just Mike Dean. It's Andre Mariner as well. They do not like Arsenal, and they let so much go against them. It's unbelievable. I think the last time Andre Mariner reffed a game, there was a blatant penalty. He waved it away, and then the VAR had to step in. And actually, funny enough, I think Mike Dean was the same one as well. Give it the old...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't Mike Dean the one who sent Patrick Vieira off? That time. Was that Patrick?
You sure it weren't David Ellery?
It could have been. It could have been something. He was bald, so maybe I'm getting mixed up.
It might have been David Ellery.
Yeah, and he was a teacher, weren't he?
He was a teacher, yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Mike being a policeman, it's always the policeman that seems to be a bit as well, But it is what it is. We move on. The score stays 2-2. It makes no difference about us ranting and raving about it. But what we can rant and rave about, what we can moan about, what we can debate about is who should be the midfield pairing at Arsenal now that Granit Xhaka is unavailable for 3 months, let's say. Because if he's out for 2 months, he's going to need a few weeks at least to get back to full fitness. It's a bit of a dilemma at the moment, isn't it, Steve? When Thomas Partey's not playing great, anyone that's going to be partnered up with him would have to sort of, I don't know, compliment him at least. But is there anyone in that team or in that squad at all that you think could complement or be a midfield pairing at the moment?
No, to be quite truthful, and whoever you play next to him, you've always got that catch-22 player. If you play the Congo or El Neni, you're more sort of taking away the attacking emphasis. And what we need, if anything, Arsenal need at the moment is the attacking emphasis, because our strikers, our forwards, our offensive players, they certainly need help. We've spoken after the last two Arsenal shows that we want the midfielders to score goals. Partey and Elney ain't going to do that. So, it's a bit of a catch-22. We've seen Odegaard play there. He didn't have a great game last night. He had a great game we played that way against Burnley. The only time we've seen really Partey play really, really well this season was when Granit Xhaka was next to him. But this is the whole point of the question that you've just asked. I've had a think about this today, and I think we are that desperate where I feel we've got to change our whole system, our own formation, and that will mean dropping players that will upset people.
Go on, start. What's the Steve system you want to put in place?
Well, obviously we have Rami in goal. We got Tommy.
Thinking, sorry, I was thinking you got Steve's got his own nickname right now for Ramsdale. I was thinking, who the hell is Rami?
No, I'm having nicknames.
I'm already upset that you dropped Aaron Ramsdale and brought in this Rami, this French guy. Rami.
I keep on. That's why I keep hearing from the Arsenal players at the moment. He's been called Rami. Tommy's been called Tommy Ashley. Whitey's been called Whitey. Gabby's Gabby. We all know that. Tierney. Well, we can't really put a Y on the end of it. Tierney. Katie. We can call Tears. You know, we can call him that. Partey and El Neni can't really chat anyway. Forget about nicknames. But yeah, the back five speaks for itself. Now, I think we should try the 4-3-3.
Okay.
This is what I think will help Arsenal, and I don't. You can whatever you think, Kieron. After you can tell me what you think of it.
Mm-hmm.
But this formation isn't what I want. This is just what I feel we've not got the choice. I think we should play Partey, obviously in the midfield. I think we should play El Neni next to him. And I think we should play Odegaard next to them as a free. Odegaard can move in and, El Neni and Partey can become a 2. Odegaard can come in and play as that number 10. So we can just sort of go back and forth if we need to strengthen up that midfield if need be.
Yeah.
Up front, you're looking at Aubameyang, Lacazette at this moment in time, and Xhaka. You could put Aubameyang with Lacazette playing. You would have to put Aubameyang out on the left. You would play Lacazette down the middle, and you would play Saka on the right. Now, this would mean a sort of an alternate between Odegaard and Emil Smith-Rowe. Now, quite a few of us have said recently that we feel that Emil Smith-Rowe needs a rest. I think it's been mentioned many a time.
Yeah.
So I think we could go with that, give Emil Smith-Rowe that rest, play Odegaard, and start like that until Xhaka's fit. Because I just don't feel we can play a 2. I can't see where we can play a 2. But as I say, Odegaard can be that player who can either strengthen up because we all know Odegaard can put his foot in. We all know Odegaard can get into a tackle. We all know he's got a bit about him. And he can always drop into that number 10 when we're going forward for that little bit of creativity if need be. And if we're under pressure, then he drops back into that 3. So that's what I was thinking of today, because I just think playing a 2, I just can't. Partey and El Neni, I don't think so. Odegaard and Partey, I just don't think so. The Congos, I just think it's a no-goer. So, yeah, I'd play that. I'd try that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. I think we do need to try. We do need to try something. Currently, the central midfield pairing isn't working. No Xhaka seems to be a massive problem for us. We've lost the steal, someone to break up play, or just to be the alternate of what Partey's doing. When one goes forward, one can sit back because they can both do that job equally as well. The problem I also have is, and it's not any bearing on a player, but I feel like a lot of Arsenal fans get precious about this player, is Emil Smith-Rowe. I think he's a very talented player. I think that he's got a massive future ahead of him at Arsenal and England. But I just think that there's so much talk that he's got to be playing week in, week out, and he's got to be the main man. When this is not a team that can have too many players in their development, and it already has. It already has. We've already gone through 3 years of Saka's development, and he's starting to come into the point where he's looking really, really good. But Smith-Rowe's not there, and that shows how good he can be. I looked yesterday at one thing that I wrote down here was is there a problem with our long range shots killing our game? Every time Partey gets around the area, Smith Rowe gets around the area, all you hear is the crowd shoot, and they shoot. One thing that Wenger used to talk about is the how long shots break up your play, and there's no fluidity. Arsenal at that point, to their detriment, I thought, never had a long shot. So it was like there was no balance.
No.
However, now I feel like any time we're getting around the area, we're just trying to pop off a long shot. I saw twice yesterday. Once where, and this was the most key one, was Emil Smith Rowe. Arsenal 1-0 up, and Emil Smith Rowe's just not on the edge of the area. He's a bit further out, but he tries to have a long range shot, and just a through ball to Aubameyang would have put him clear on goal. And it wasn't like it was a great opportunity to shoot. There wasn't a gaping hole anywhere. It was, and there was an opening for Aubameyang. So, and again, it leads into that frustration that strikers must have, especially Aubameyang, where he doesn't get too many chances on goal. That when there are those opportunities, when your players around you are not opening up, not getting their head up, and looking for that final pass through, which an Ozil may have made, which a Cazorla may have made, which even a Ramsey may have made. It gets frustrating, and you can understand sometimes why in the first half you're getting a lot of running out of Aubameyang. You're getting this, you're seeing the runs, and in the second half you're maybe not seeing as much as that. Now, I'm not saying that's definitely happening, and Aubameyang's giving up, but I can definitely vouch for him getting frustrated when you're seeing, because Partey did the same thing as well. He tried to have a long shot. There was one that wasn't too far away, and there was one that was just way off. But again, one of them, there was an opportunity to pass that through ball through, which would have put Aubameyang through. So I think there's gone off a bit of a tangent, but Smith Rowe, I think, as you said before, he needs to be nurtured. He needs to be not that man where we're like, oh, why is it Smith Rowe playing? It needs to be he's earning his shirt, he's earning his place. And I think we do need to calm down on these long shots and start looking for that final killer ball through, because that's what Arsenal have been since I can remember, is that killer ball, that through ball, that deft touch. I just think sometimes I feel like we need it more now, especially because we're seeing games where we're having 20 odd shots on goal, but how many of them are actual shots on target? How many of them are actual really decent shots or really good opportunities to get through in the box?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with that. But surely they must be told in training whether to shoot or to not shoot. I mean, Partey and Emil Smith Rowe now, they're shooting on sight every week. Yeah. And you think by now, you would, Arteta, even if it was half time, you'd say, I don't want you to shoot. First thing I want you to do is look up. If I see you shoot again, I'll take you off. Because I know Pep wouldn't stand for it, and I know Klopp wouldn't stand for it, and maybe Arteta isn't standing for it, and maybe it's the players' fault. Maybe they're just not listening. Maybe it just hasn't go in, which seems to be this, this trait, with Arsenal over the years. That we see Emery sometimes. Sometimes, you used to see Emery pacing up and down on the line, and we'd lose a game, and then the first thing their fans would be on Emery's back instead of looking what's happening on the pitch and looking what the problems on the pitch were. The easiest thing, the lazy thing was, let's blame the manager. It's Emery's fault. It's Wenger's fault. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. We may be going into it a little bit more in a minute, but I don't believe it is. But surely, if you're a manager, if I'm a manager, if we're managing any team of whatever level, if there's a player you think you're not a shooter, mate, and you've got players like Pepe on one side, you've got Saka on the other, and you've got Aubameyang down the middle, and you've got two players who just can't shoot to save their life, and they're doing this. Gee, come on, stop doing it. Otherwise, get off. Get off.
And you said it there. You said it there. There's Aubameyang there. There's Lacazette there, and there's Pepe there. Yeah. Like, he had a shot yesterday which the keeper saved and scored, and then we scored off the rebound from. And he does that quite often, where he can get them shots off. They get on target. Yes, he missed a few, but he makes the keeper work, and that's what you've got to do. That's what you've got to be looking to do, is make the keeper work. I find it criminal that professional footballers, you're not making the keeper work. You have to test him. You have to make him make saves. Otherwise, stop shooting.
The thing is, Kieron, there's no way Arteta's telling Partey and Smith Rowe to have shots. They can't shoot.
They're listening to the crowd, Steve. The thing is, as soon as the crowd shoot, bang, shoot it. It's like, come on, boys, come on, you got to stop that. I don't know whether you've seen it, but look back at the highlights, you'll see it. There's a Smith Rowe shot, and Aubameyang's just like, he's like, oh my, he knew if you would just slid him, and that should be Smith Rowe's game. You're on the edge of the area. He's a cool, like, classy sort of player. He should be maybe dummying the shot and sliding a little through ball. It was such a gaping hole that I saw from Aubameyang there. But those things won't get picked up, Steve, because as a fan base, yes, we're not here to dig out players, especially young players. But as a fan base, we kind of put the blinkers on our favourite players. We put the blinkers on the players who we prefer over others. So as soon as Granit Xhaka drops a bad pass, the one or two bad passes he might do in a game, but they forget about the goal that he scored, the 5 interceptions, and the 2 blocks that he's done. But as I mean, yesterday, Kieron Tierney, who will have put in 3 decent crosses, but will get run past about 5 times. You won't even mention that because the guy will run through brick walls. So,
I mean, Arsenal fans have got to realise, look, we're Arsenal Football Club, right? We're Arsenal Football Club, right? And there should be no favourites. There should be no one you hate. If you have a favourite, fair enough. But if there's someone you don't like and you're not happy with the way he's playing, you still support him every single game. You don't wait for him to make a mistake or, if there's some player you think, he's, I don't know, you're not sure of, then you just say, if he is playing, you support him, and then you say, I want you to improve. You should do this, but come on, next time. I'm not being funny. I see Man United fans do this. I've seen it a lot recently since we started the shows, and I see it a lot. They seem to stick up for everybody. And I'm sorry, Arsenal fans, but we've got to do the same. We're a classy club. We're just as big as Man United is. There's got to be some kind of change.
It's kind of like a scapegoat. It's like they're. I feel sometimes it's like they're embarrassed the player. So as soon as something goes wrong, it'd be like, I've always said about that player. I've always said about him. I've never rated him. So it's one of them. Like, look, I'm not. And we've both said, I'm not saying Granit Xhaka is the best midfielder in the world, but now he's a better option than any of you reporters that want to talk about Charlie Bettino. Just get out of it. 17-year-old kid, he's not going to be able to. He'll get eaten alive against a Henderson.
Let's face it,
or even a Fred and a McTominay.
But let's face it, has Partey been better than Granit Xhaka since he's came to Arsenal? No. So what are people seeing? More people might be saying another question. Maybe they should be saying, who should be playing with Granit Xhaka? Should we be playing Partino? But no one's never going to. That's never going to happen. But you can't persist. There's going to be a time where you've got to keep persisting with the same thing. And Partey's got to realise he knows what he's good at. I mean, he wants to score this goal. He wants to be he wants to be good. He wants to be one of the fans' favourites, which I think he is already. But what's happening is it's going the other way because he keeps on trying to do too many things. He's trying to do things that are just not capable of doing in that specific, game time that's going on at that particular moment. And he's losing supporters. And just stop shooting and.
All right, we'll stick to the 2 players for now that we're talking about. Thomas Partey, what does he need to work on? Specifics. What do you want to see from his game that he needs to work on and concentrate on?
his passing. His passing's been well off since he's came to Arsenal. I feel that he's trying to do the special. He's trying to do the special pass. He's trying to do the Cruyff turn in the middle of the park. He does that a lot. A couple of times, a few times it'll come off. Other times it won't. Didn't come off against Spurs, and he got caught the other night. But yeah, he's got to prove. He must know what he's good at. He's just got to take a deep breath, and just think back to his Madrid days. Realise that this league's a lot faster. It's a lot quicker than what La Liga is. Yeah, he's got to stop shooting. Thomas, I love you, but you're crap at shooting, pal. Right? Don't shoot. We've got 5 or 6 players better than you at shooting, and we're not at that particular place in the league where we can afford you shooting every now and then just for the hell of it. Give it to the players who can do the jobs. Break up the ball, and it's difficult with Thomas Partey. Do you play him as a DM? Do you play him as a forward-thinking midfielder? That's probably. I think if we had Xhaka now. We could see. I think when Xhaka's not fit, obviously then Partey hasn't got that Xhaka to improve his game going forward. Because whenever he seems that Xhaka's there, Partey seems to be a different player, like he was at Spurs.
They love playing with each other. I mean, Partey's got Xhaka as his cover photo. I mean, if there's ever a show of goodwill and love with your fellow compatriot, it's having a picture of your midfield partner as your cover photo. If anyone wants to argue who he likes playing with, it's quite evident who he likes playing with, and that's Granit Xhaka. That's
because he knows in his head, if Granit Xhaka's in that side, he can play his game to his full potential of what he was playing for Atletico Madrid. When Granit Xhaka's there, he can't do that. I mean, we was talking about Basuma. That's the wrong one for me. I don't think we should buy him. I've never thought we should buy him. Arteta probably thinks the same, and that's why we haven't bought him.
What's your thing against buying Basuma?
Because you don't know, do you? If Xhaka performs the way he performs when Partey's in the side, then why do you want to bring Basuma in? You're going to bring Basuma in. We don't know how they're going to play together. We don't know. He plays for Brighton. I don't see many other clubs looking at Basuma. You're talking about him signing a new contract at Brighton. So what? He's at Brighton now. So yeah, he might come in. He might be fantastic. But while you've got Granit Xhaka and his Partey can raise his game when he's there, why do you want to go and spend 40 million on Basuma? It's mad. That makes sense. It's a pointless. I just don't get it.
Not being funny, but the majority of young Arsenal fans just default to whoever they've heard on Twitter, or whoever watched the YouTube highlight of, and that's not all Arsenal fans. People so don't get upset. I'm saying there's a small minority of Arsenal fans that will just even now will tell you that the two midfielders they want are Hossein Mawar and Yves Bissouma, which you could see, there could be 25 different better midfielders are better than them, but they would still just default to them because they probably know no one else.
Yeah. I mean, Jorginho is the same, Kieron. Do you know Jorginho gets?
Let's talk about Jorginho.
Jorginho is the Granit Xhaka. They're the same.
When we were linked to Jorginho, the amount of people said, "I don't want him nowhere near my club." Mate, this is not your club. If you don't want Jorginho, this is definitely not your club, mate, because that geezer's a baller. And he showed that since Thomas Tuchel's come in and he's won the European Championship. So, and that's no small feat at all.
I mean, to be honest, Kieron, would you want to risk £40 million on Basuma when you're in the situation we're in now?
No, because why would I buy Basuma when I've got Lokonga, who's Thomas Partey's understudy? I think Arsenal needs a completely different midfielder. I think Arsenal need an Aaron Ramsey kind of midfielder. I only say Aaron Ramsey because he's been at Arsenal, so it's easy to imagine what kind of player. A Cazorla, someone in that position that can take that ball from the central midfield to forwards and it's not like a Partey where he's like a big monster kind of player with it. I want a middle ground. That I want someone who's a bit softer around the edges than a Partey, but a bit tougher than an Odegaard, like a number 8. Like, you know what a number 8 used to look like? Steven Gerrard was a number 8, like a number 8. Like that's what I think Arsenal need. Arsenal need someone who can put in a strong challenge, win that ball, and break out of the midfield with it, run past players, and get the odd goal. Like 5 goals a season, 5 assists, number 8. That's what Arsenal need. What do you think Arsenal need in that midfield to complement them right now? With let's say that Granit Xhaka is fit, so we have options.
If we've got options, well, then you've got to start being realistic, haven't you? And you've got to start looking about. I mean, I've always liked James Ward-Prowse. I've always liked him.
Love what James Ward-Prowse. I think that'd be perfect.
He's always in my teams, isn't he? When we do shows that, you know, we're doing our best 11 or something, and if it's something to do with British players, 9 times out of 10 he's in my team. I just love that player.
People say he's too slow. Do you think that's the case?
Come off it. No, he's not. He's not too slow. He's not too slow. He's player of the year for Southampton every single year. I mean, I'm not saying Southampton ain't the greatest of football clubs, but for me, he's a constant, you know, regular 7 or 8 out of 10 performer in the Premier League. And I think if Arsenal went and got him, he's always in the England squads. I think he was unlucky not to go to the Euros.
Yeah.
He's a penalty taker. You know, that's always something, you know, to look at. And he's got a good head on his shoulders. And he to me, Bissouma don't look. To me, Bissouma's not. I don't know. You know, sometimes you think, are they Arsenal?
Well,
I think no. But James Ward-Prowse, I think, is.
Not being funny, but currently, no one should be even talking about Bissouma going to their club. He could be doing a 10 stretch. So let's Bissouma shouldn't be on the lips of anyone right now because he's
people want him
currently on a charge. Yeah,
people want him.
It's very easy how. Do you know what I was thinking today? I was thinking, look, he's not been found guilty. We don't know the situation at the moment, but Ched Evans was a guy who was in a situation which people were very quick to judge him, even way before he was convicted of it, and then found not guilty later on, and he would still have his name tarnished for something that he didn't do. So. I think people should definitely, if anything comes of this Yves Bissouma thing, people should definitely take that in the same way and not have favourites on anything.
I think what people got to worry about at this moment in time, as far as Arsenal's midfield goes, is that there's part of me that thinks Xhaka wants to leave, and he's just fed up. And I think Xhaka's one of these players. I honestly feel if he went to a bigger, not bigger club, but a club that's further up in the league in another division, I wouldn't be surprised if he got even better than what he is.
Yeah, but
now.
But the reason why Arsenal signed him up on an extension is because they weren't willing to lose him for the pittance that Rome were offering. So they've obviously got more sort of higher sort of thinking on what Granit Xhaka is like than many others. But I mean, what matters for Granit Xhaka is what Mikel Arteta and the Arsenal teammates think of him rather than some of the fan base. We've just done that with Thomas Partey. Smith Rowe, what does he need to work on?
Shooting.
No, because I ask it, because when people talk about Smith Rowe, and especially like even now or a few weeks ago, or whatever, it's almost as if he has to be in the team. No, you have to play Smith Rowe. No, it's got to be Smith Rowe. And in my eyes, I'm like, no, it doesn't. I mean, we had this discussion before, and I said I'm picking Pepe because I think that Odegaard is a better number 10 currently, and I think you can get more out of Odegaard. And Pepe's more of an attacking threat than Smith Rowe. And people would probably think I'm a bit crazy for that because of how inconsistent Pepe is. But I just don't see the goal threat in Smith Rowe. And now I'm seeing shortcomings in as a number 10 if you're not scoring goals, you've got to be setting up goals, but you're taking long shots. And when you should be, your first thought there should be to put that ball through. And that's where you should be growing as a player. So that's why I ask about Smith Rowe. So what is it you think he needs?
Well, he's obviously got to improve on his shooting, his offensive and getting in the box. I feel that he needs to get in the box more. I also feel that he needs to sort out his fitness a bit more. Because
do you think he's a bit heavy?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm glad you said it.
I said it last season. Do you know what? I said it last season.
He is.
Because last season he was heavy.
Yeah.
This season he's lost a bit of weight, but he's still not there.
Yeah, he puffs in a lot. You see him, he runs back, and after he's done the run, he's puffing. You know, he's like, and then he will go again. And by the time he's got back up to the other end again, and he's, you know, we want him to do what he's good at, which is attack, hopefully score goals or lay on goals, or, you know, have that mind, you know, nice and fresh, so you can create chances through for the forwards. You know, his mind ain't thinking straight, because when you're, I mean, it's like I used to play as sort of a left winger, and every time I used to run back. In my day, you didn't need to run back, you know. But when I did, by the time you used to get back up the end again, I was fine running over a sort of short period. But not only are you puffing, not only are you a bit worn out, your brain doesn't figure as much as what it is, you know, when you're just sort of waiting for the ball to come to you or someone. So you're not. So people, it's not just that. You know, people out there. It's also the brain's not ticking, and it's
the final parts of the game is when you lose your concentration because you're most tired, and that's why you've got to have your fitness levels up.
But he needs a rest.
He does need a rest, and another thing. We've got Johnny and both Glenn saying that Kieron needs a rest, and Glenn saying that I'm ready to see Tavares give Tini a rest, and I think they're right.
Yeah.
I think the reason why we bought in the likes of Tavares is because they were a suitable replacement, an option, competition. Yes, he's not as good, but he was brought in there to be someone who could actually play as a left back and be that like for like, be that attacking threat that Kieron is. And I think Mikel Arteta, this is where he needs to have a bit of trust in some of his other players and give him a start, because I think Arsenal will benefit from it, and Kieron will definitely benefit from having a rest. Even though,
do you think he will though? Do you think he will?
I think he. What do you think that Arteta will rest him?
Yeah.
No. I don't, because I don't think at the moment Arteta's in a place where he can play around with too much and be questioned on games that are lost or points that are dropped when you're going to be dropping someone like as key a figure like Kieron. As soon as you do drop a player of that stature, you're leaving yourself open for interrogation. I mean, that's completely down to the manager. It's up to him. It's what he's paid for. But at this very moment in time, off the back of the 3 straight losses at the start of the season and then the 2 draws that we've just had, if he was to drop Kieron for the next game and we were to drop more points, people are going to lose their head.
I generally think El Nenny's a shout. I generally do, and the reason why I say that, I don't know what you think, and people in the comments, you know, tell us what you think. But I've thought for a long while now that there's so many people on, you know, creative players on the pitch at Arsenal, is that they get in each other's way. That's, you know, just a personal thing. Yeah, you've got Odegaard. If you take El Nenny out, you've got Partey, who seems to want to go forward, thinks he's Kevin De Bruyne or Mahrez sometimes. You think, what are you doing? Just get back. You've got Odegaard. If you've got Smith Rowe, you've got Saka, and then you've got Pepe. They all want the ball. Every one of them wants the ball, and they're all looking to create. None of them are really goal scorers, or none of them get in the box. So it's not like, you know, all of a sudden a couple of them's going to turn into a dangerous, because none of them really score goals. That you know, especially when like the number 10's got it. So I feel that if someone like El Nenny came in for now until Xhaka's fit, that, you know, you can easily rest Smith Rowe, not only for the good of him, but also for the good of the team.
And you're bringing in Lacazette, yeah?
And you're bringing in Lacazette. So
was yesterday enough? Go on. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, on that form, you got to give them a go because we're not scoring goals.
Yeah.
You know, if you're seeing someone come on, you think, well, they was on it then.
Yeah.
Play him.
Yeah.
You know, if he's on it, play him. Let's see what happens.
It gave Abba a little bit of a spark, didn't it?
Yeah, let's see what happens. There might be something there. You know, you've got to try these things. And so I would definitely be playing Lacazette and Aubameyang, and going back to hopefully when they was a couple of seasons ago when they was on it. I mean, there was a great partnership then, and obviously with Saka now, more experience and a top player playing out on the right, and then Odegaard can be his own man. He can be the man who can sort of say, right, where are you? And then he can look, and then he's got, I don't think Odegaard. I think you said on the post match the other day is that you want Odegaard to do more. You want him to get on the ball more. You want him to create more. Well, I think this way you would do it if you took out someone like Smith Rowe, bring Elneny and Nenny in, because Partey needs someone like that in a minute. He needs a Xhaka. I mean, Elneny ain't 100%, diamond of what he needs, but he's all we got. So Partey can have Elneny. Partey may play better because he's got that Elneny to protect him. And Odegaard may have that little bit more joy because he may get more of the ball.
Mike, who's the answer? One question, mate. Who's the answer in this squad? We're not talking about miracles. We're not talking about Arsenal going out and buying a central midfielder right now. If the full squad is fit, who is the answer? Because I'm seeing a lot of questions asked. I'm seeing players go into those positions, but them questions not being answered, mate. So the only one who seems to be doing the job next to Partey is Granit Xhaka. So it's not a case of all of a sudden. It's a case of you tell me who the options are. I've heard people tell me Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I've heard people tell me that Odegaard's sitting there. I'd love it. It's not working. It's not working. Partey doesn't have the defensive discipline to be sitting there with an Odegaard. We could talk about Elneny. It could work. But to dismiss someone who's in that position, tell me who is better in that position to sit next to Thomas Partey. I'll wait for your answer.
There can't be one, is there? There ain't one. And we all know Jack has got his. I mean, to be honest, he don't get round the pitch as much as probably what some of the younger players would. That's evident to see. That's one thing of his game that he's not. But he's 6'3" and weighs 13 stone. So I'm sorry, people. People who are that weight, are not going to get round the pitch. But he's got a lot of abilities. I mean, you've only got to look at him in training, trying to get back to work. I mean, when are people going to see, this guy? I mean, he's absolutely. They're saying 3 months. Jack is on Instagram saying, "I'm not out in 3. I'm back before. I'm back in 2." How can you not want to play like that at Arsenal Football Club? Okay, he's rash with the tackles. He'll do something stupid every now and then. He'll get sent off. But you want that. Go and smash someone. What's the matter with us? What's the matter with us these days? Vieira used to do it. Wilson used to do it. Bang, bang, bang. It was, they're great. They're fantastic. No, they weren't. Well, according to tell me. Vieira spat in someone's face and headbutted someone on the pitch.
To be fair, it was Razor Ruddock. He probably deserved it.
Yeah, but he's a legend. And he's a legend to me. And I'm glad he done it. Because I'm old school. You need people like him. And, until someone comes up better or we buy someone in, there ain't no one else, I'm afraid. And he is the answer. And the last game he played against Spurs, he was fantastic. Man in the match, I think.
Yeah, one of them. Where do I see that? Where did I see it? I saw a good point, but I can't see it. The Liga.
Okay, Glenn's got a question. Who do you think Arsenal will bring in January?
Oh. Well, I'll give him my phone number at the end of this, and if you've got any contacts, just let me know. At the moment, firstly, there's nothing out there at all. There's silly rumours about people we're going to bring in January, but don't listen to those. You know, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, not happening, people.
Jesus Christ. What?
Just forget
January?
it. Yeah. We're hearing Dominic Calvert-Lewin. A lot of the websites and certain people who have got a lot of things wrong in the past are trying to say that we'd be looking at Dominic Calvert-Lewin. That's not happening. But who are we going to be looking at bringing in? Well, we know who Arsenal are, what they need. They want to bring in another goalkeeper because Leno is leaving. They are looking at bringing in a striker, and they do want a midfield player. So,
what's the most likely of the three in January?
Probably a goalkeeper, no, in Arsenal.
Well, that made my chest sink, didn't it?
Because I think of the three, I think we need another midfielder that's different to what we've got.
Yeah. But it's so difficult to bring people in January. I mean, there's literally nothing out there in a minute. I mean, I'd like to see someone like I wouldn't mind a Ruben Neves coming in, someone like that. I wouldn't mind a James Ward-Prowse. I mean, he's going to be relegated next year. Going off for 40 million for James Ward-Prowse, get him in January. I'm sure
there's rumours that Chelsea are looking at him, so he can't be not good enough for Arsenal and too good and good enough for Chelsea.
He's a very good player. Very good player.
The midfield area is at this moment is incredibly important, but you don't know how Arteta's thinking. He may think that, well, you know, we've got Xhaka coming back in January, and so maybe that isn't a need. And I've got Lokonga and I've got El Neni. So, you know, I think as the months go on, as we get closer to January, and, you know, it will come a lot more clearer, you know, who and what area of the pitch that Mikel Arteta is looking at. If Lacazette, if Lacazette starts playing well, if they get partnership going, if we can get into the Europa League, then it's probably better to wait until the summer, you know, because it's not, you know, January is a difficult time to bring a player in. Very rarely do they hit it off. Okay, Pierre Aubameyang and play. Did he come in January? Did he come in January? Yeah, I mean he hit it off straight away, and a few others have. Yeah,
until he realised that the tax was in England was ridiculously high, and he would have got paid more in Russia, and then decided to down his tools.
But the worrying thing is, Kieron, there's nothing out there, and Arsenal ain't the greatest place to be at the minute, is it?
Yeah, I mean, generally it's usually close to the time that we'll hear more. And if you do want to hear more, you make sure you follow the Transfer Exchange show, because we will be right on the button for any transfer news coming out of Arsenal. So keep your ears peeled, because there'll always be something that will pop up, at least a player that we'll be looking at. I just think it would be more dependent on the time. Like you said, it would dependent on how Granit Xhaka recovers. Definitely whether Lacazette's hitting any form. So yeah, I think these are going to be the thing. One more thing before we go. One thing that Mikel Arteta said yesterday, he said the players, they played because he was asked about why, when they went 1-0 up, why did they drop off? And he said they played with a little bit with the handbrake on. What? First of all, it's a bit confusing, because is that would seem like it's not coming from the manager and it's the players. But why, once they're taken that 1-0 lead and they were looking so energetic and at a pomp, why would they then sit off and let Crystal Palace get back into the game?
This is why, for me, it's the players and not the manager. And I've felt that going way back to Arsene Wenger, when people used to have a go at Wenger, you know, it was the easy way, it was the lazy way to blame someone for Arsenal's failings at that particular time. The same was for Emery. You know, if you look back now, you go on Sky and you look at the Premiership years and you watch Arsenal play, you know, towards Wenger's the end of his career and towards the end of Emery's career. You'll see Arsenal and you'll think, wow, I wish I had that team. I wish they.
I saw the Arsenal team that everyone, well, not everyone, that a lot of people were holding up banners for and protesting against. Yeah, honestly, that football was absolutely beautiful to watch. Still, it was probably frustrating because the expectations were ridiculously high compared to the time where football was moving forward. And it's not necessarily the manager that was standing still. Come on, listen. We've already heard things where, I mean, if you listen to the Arsblog article on the Cronkies, it came out last year. He there himself said they wouldn't spend while Usmanov was there. Like, yet people will still say Arsene Wenger didn't want to buy players, but they've out and out now said that they were not willing to spend any big money while Usmanov was still a part of the board. Like, that's self-destruction. Like, like, yet you still look at the manager and say he didn't want to spend. He had an option to bring in players and he brought in a goalkeeper. Like, please. Yeah.
I mean, I would like to put a question to everybody watching, you know, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, wherever you're watching. I want to put yourself in the shoes of Mikel Arteta. Just put you in the shoes of Mikel Arteta for a minute. You're training every day, week in, week out. You're seeing your players, and you're teaching. When you're a manager, you're teaching them to play to a different style. You're not teaching them to play with 5 different styles. Whenever you're watching Match of the Day, every team's got their style. Yeah, they all play similar. They all shape up the same. Yeah. So when Arteta's managing, Arsenal he gets them to a shape of where he wants them to play and how he wants them to play. Yeah. Against Tottenham, we've had the same shape, the same way of playing, right? Every single time. Sometimes we have to change it around because of injuries or suspensions. But he has got one specific way of playing, yeah, just like his friend Pep has at Man City, right? You see that against Tottenham, right? So do you really think that when they're playing against other teams, he tells them to play a completely different way, and he totally changes the way? No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. And that's why when you hear him speak afterwards, he's fed up because, you know, you don't change away a different style. And I just don't, and then you see him on the touchline, you know, time and time again, looking up at the air, putting his head in his hands. People go, "Oh, look, he don't know what to do." Ain't nothing to do with what he don't know what to do. That's because he can't believe in what he told them during the week, and they're not doing it. And that went for Emery as well. Time and time again, when you see him going up and down the touchline, putting his head in his hand, thinking, "What is this lot? This ain't what I taught them during the week." And they seem to take on their own different way of doing things. It just seemed to, and it's been that way for Arsenal for a long while now.
Yeah. I agree. I don't understand. A lot of talk. Yes, there's managers that are tactical and will tweak things in game and stuff like that. And Mikel Arteta will do that. But you have a style of play, and Johan Cruyff was one who very much said it. You perfect your style of play, and you don't adapt to whatever everyone else does. You just perfect your game to the point where you can't be beaten at it. And we're very far off of it. At Wenger's team towards the end, they were far off of it. We had it for about a 3-year period where it was just perfect in every way. But yeah, there's
But going back to your original question, where you said why, you know, they come out one half And then, do you think Nick Arteta in the second half said, "Stop that! Don't attack. Let's all just sit back and hold on to the 1-0 win"?
Yeah.
No, of course he hasn't.
Glenn's got it there. Based on Arteta's comments after the game, he seemed surprised they didn't understand why the players decided to protect the lead instead of smelling blood and pushing and punishing them.
Of course,
that's spot on. And that's what I was listening to his comments. I was like, what? That's weird, because it wasn't just like they've dropped off and tried to hold the lead with 10, 20 minutes to go. They tried to hold the lead with 50, 60 minutes to go. Like, that's madness. That's madness. And it's what Crystal Palace done to their detriment in the end, because they would continue to keep on going at Arsenal, yeah. I feel like they probably would have conceded another goal. But instead, they decided to sit back for the last 15 minutes, which is invited pressure, and it gave us confidence. We built confidence again. And that should surely show the Arsenal players that keep putting pressure on teams, by keep having shots, one, your confidence will grow, and two, their confidence will lessen. They will start questioning themselves. They will start tripping over their own feet and making mistakes.
But you... I just, you know,
well, it's that, Steve. We're there, mate. Yeah.
But what people say, Kears, what people are saying is that, well, why don't Arteta drop them? Why don't Arteta have a ruck at them? Why don't you cannot with Arsenal's squad? You got to keep them sweet. Yeah. And if Emil Smith-Rowe's doing something wrong, if Partey's doing something wrong, at the moment you can't. You know,
there's not many options, is there?
There's not many options to say, oh, we'll bring so in. We'll be bringing, you know, if it's Mahrez from Man City or Greenwood of Man United, and they've had a couple of games they haven't been doing what Solskjaer or Pep has told them to do, he will get them to one side and he say, you do it once more, you're out way because here come in.
Yeah,
Arteta can't do that. He has to go and talk to him in a different way. You know, not Aubameyang. You know, he could do what he likes at Arsenal. He probably can go do this, do that, come in late, do whatever he wants, because we haven't got nobody else to take his place. So he has to keep him straight.
But I think was the case. I think that was very much the case last season. I think that was 100% the case. Yeah, and then he got dropped for that game, and that was a slap in the face. Like, no, don't take the mick, because I feel like they do have a lot of freedom. And that was he's pushed it too far. Don't take the mick.
But I think now, Kieron, he's realised that now Martinelli, Eddie Nketiah, and Florian Balogun, they're not good enough to bring in to replace him if he does something wrong. Because at that time he probably thought I can bring in Martinelli if he's playing up a bit. Or I can bring in Nketiah. Now he's thinking I can't afford to do that. And you've got to blame the owner for that.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're gonna have to do a pod. It's just coming into my head where we could bring in like 5 players. We've got like 100 million to spend. We go off the valuations from the transfer market. You can bring in freebies. You can bring in whoever, but you've got to be realistic. And I'm not having you go, oh, well, I got Mbappe on a free, I got Pogba on a free, and I spent 90 million on so-and-so, mate. Like, no, it's not happening. No one could do that. So I don't know when we're going to do it, but we should do it soon. Maybe come
like a dream team.
But we can bring 5 players and we go off 100 mil, and it's off the transfer value of the players, and you can bring in 5 players in any position, and I think so we can see. And I'd like to get the Glenn. I'd like to get you involved, Johnny. I'd like to get you involved. Whoever who's regulars in our stream, definitely. I'd love to get you involved. You can pick 5 players, 100 million budget to make Arsenal's squad complete. All right, that is all the time we have for. Thank you for joining us tonight, Steve.
Yeah, you're welcome, mate. Yep.
And thank you for joining us tonight, Johnny, as always. Break a leg. Ad, thank you for joining us tonight, mate. Glenn 10, thank you for joining us. Mike, I don't see you much around. Thank you for joining us. Smash that like, smash that subscribe. And that's it. Thank you for joining us, everyone else. If you're watching on Twitter, come over to YouTube, KS1 TV. As you may have seen earlier, or you may have missed, we had Emil Heskey on the show. Yes, former England striker, former Liverpool, Leicester, Aston Villa, Birmingham, Newcastle Jets, mate. Striker Emil Heskey was on the show, and there's plenty more to come. I'm going to drop some names, not just yet though, but yeah, there's some serious guests, and when I talk about serious guests,
I mean serious.
Arsenal fans will love some of these guests, and one in particular, I think you're going to absolutely lose your mind over. But I won't ruin the surprise just yet. As I say always, peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.